Tyson got very.
And we're back.
I said Stetson Bennett should be the backup to Justin Fields, and he just completely crashed the stream.
I did.
Unbelievable.
I got so upset that I kicked my leg and I kicked the power cord to the streaming computer, and that's how fucking upset I am about that.
Absolutely terrible.
What a poverty franchise, you know. Anyway, so back to the college game a little bit, and I just don't know what to make of the game. Like, I was talking a little bit with you off stream about, does this mean that Harbaugh is exposed? I don't know.
Okay, so I'm just gonna come out and say this. I did not expect the game to go that way. Obviously, as somebody who thought TCU would be in it and could actually cover the 14 points, I didn't expect that to happen. My quick thoughts are that it was incredible to me how relentless Georgia was. How when they were up 55-7, we were going forward on fourth down. We were blitzing every play. We were still trying to punch it in. I don't know what the right answer is in terms of when do you let off the gas and understand that you are literally dominating every facet of the game. And at what point, it's tough because it's a national championship, what point does sportsmanship come into that? At what point do you say, this team has quit, we're up by 45 in the fourth quarter, at what point do we say, now we're going to take our foot off the gas a little bit? I thought it'd be a much slower game just because I thought Georgia would win, but I didn't think they'd just go hurry up the entire game and just absolutely demolish them. Offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, wide receivers, DBs, everybody, every part of that, every facet of that game, TCU got absolutely, completely crushed in.
Well,
and I don't know if there's any analysis to take away from it, except for the fact that Georgia is going to be this team for the next few years. And you can say whatever you want to say about TCU, right? They didn't deserve to be there. The Big 12 sucks. It's an inferior conference. Sure.
All true.
Sure. Okay. All true. Big 12 is not a great conference. TCU 1,000% deserved to be there. Alabama did not deserve to be there. And the people who sit here and they get on their high horse, that should be the four best teams. Okay, so are we just not going to play football games? We're just going to take whatever recruiting analysis 247 says, right, and tell me the four most talented teams. Don't play a single fucking game, right? Just go out there, put the four best teams. We don't need to play the regular season. Just do that and, pick the playoff that way. It's a ridiculous argument. And I see your fan base doing it more than anybody else, okay? They're filled up on my Twitter timeline, all right, talking about how they didn't deserve to be there. At the end of the day, all right, TCU beat Michigan, okay? And Michigan stomped Ohio State. And Ohio State barely lost to Georgia. That game was an anomaly last night. And
Ohio State's a fraud too.
Well, they're all frauds except for Georgia, I guess, right? That's the takeaway. And who? Who? The fuck were you just gonna say? What were you gonna say?
Maybe not Alabama.
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty much SEC schools besides Vanderbilt.
Alabama's still going to be Alabama. They played down to their competition this year, in my opinion.
But now I'll agree with you that TCU deserved to be there. But there's also got to be some realization that the SEC schedules are fucking insane. There's no more cupcakes. The cupcake game. Well, I think Alabama had a cupcake game or two. But the SEC schedules are out of control.
You motherfuckers. You guys, this is what you do. You pump up how good your conference is, top to bottom, and we forget about the.
Are we wrong?
Missouri and Vanderbilt and these teams.
Look at Mizzou this year.
Okay.
Mizzou wasn't relevant.
Show me your out of conference schedule. All right. All you guys do is you play your SEC schedule for the most part, right? And then you talk about prop it up into how good it is. Listen, I think there's different ways that we can do this, and I think when we go to 12 teams, I don't see how the committee is actually a thing and viable going forward. There has to be some kind of a set in stone, like the BCS system that we have. There has to be something that's set in stone that says this is your criteria, this is what you have to do to make the playoff or to get this amount of points or whatever the system is. But the fact that we just elect like Condoleezza Rice to go sit in a room and tell me who the best football team in the country is, God bless Condoleezza Rice. I'm sure she knows a lot about football, served our country very well. Patriot, thank you so much. Okay.
All right.
Don't give me Condoleezza Rice and 4 athletic directors to tell me who the best fucking team in college football is. There's going to be bias there no matter what.
I want to go back to the schedule, like you were just talking about. Okay.
Go ahead.
Let me see here. I don't think this is the right one though.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Yeah, here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. Why is it not showing the Utah game?
Utah. Give me 2.
Oh, because it's the first one. All right, so let me just rattle off this schedule, okay?
Uh-huh.
This is just one random SEC team, just one random, okay? These are the opponents. Utah, not a cupcake.
Okay, so the random SEC team is the University of Florida, right? That's what we're going to go with here.
Per se. We'll just say that as an example, right? Utah, not a cupcake. Yeah. Florida Atlantic.
Good team this year.
Cupcake.
Florida Atlantic, cupcake.
Cupcake.
Willie Taggart, coach Florida Atlantic.
South Florida.
What happened in that game against Florida Atlantic? What was the score?
35-14. Okay. South Florida, borderline cupcake. Alabama. What do you mean? What's that look for?
Borderline cupcake?
Borderline cupcake. This is a team that has brought in some heavy hitters to try to turn around the program. Okay.
What was their record this year?
I don't have that kind of information, sir. Next game, Alabama. Okay, not a cupcake. Tennessee, not a cupcake. Kentucky, not a cupcake. Which, shout out to the Kentucky program, by the way. That dude has done some amazing things to get them back into relevancy.
Dude, baby. Should have kept him at FSU, honestly.
Vanderbilt, cupcake. LSU, not a cupcake. Georgia, not a cupcake. South Carolina, not a cupcake. Missouri, not a cupcake. Florida State, cupcake. Then UCF, mediocre cupcake. That's just one of them. Like, then if I go to Texas Christian University football schedule 2021. Boom.
Can I tell you real quick? Alabama's out of conference schedule this year.
Well, but we're not really talking about out of conference. I'm talking about
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm talking about no. The reason why there's some of those cupcakes is because every other day we're playing against an NFL team. When you play against Georgia every year, LSU every year, Alabama every year, you're playing against NFL teams. Yep, I said it. Let's just look at TCU here, okay? Versus Duquesne.
Duquesne. It's Duquesne.
There's an S in there. And there's an N.
Listen, we can get into silent consonants all we want to at a different podcast.
University of California. SMU. Texas. Texas Tech.
What was the score of the Texas game they played?
They lost 27-32.
Who did?
TCU.
TCU did not lose to Texas.
Oh wait, what is this year? It says 2022-21 football schedule. I don't know. This has multiple losses. Well, let's just look at the schedule anyway. I mean,
so probably is not this year. Let me tell you, Alabama's out of conference schedule this year. Utah State, Texas, okay, Louisiana Monroe, Austin, PA.
Yep. Oh, because we're on 22. You forgot Utah. You forgot Utah State.
For who?
Alabama. That's who they opened with.
I thought I said Utah State.
Okay, but then you go up against Arkansas, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Mississippi State, LSU, Ole Miss, Auburn, and I will say though,
there's two good teams out of that entire thing that you just mentioned.
Correct.
LSU and Tennessee.
But Texas, when they first started, was a good team. Now, I will say that Alabama schedule right there does not deserve them to get in on two losses. I will 100% stand by that. That is not that's probably one of the softest Bama schedules I've seen in a while, and they should have absolutely rolled. So I'm not saying that they deserve to get in there, because we both agreed that TCU deserved to get in there. I just said that, and I also called Georgia by 21 plus. So I just think that, like you said, it's going back to the system, and when you had a team in there that was a 14-point dog, like you were saying, it's more to get action. I think Vegas knew that Georgia was going to completely stomp them, but I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that that game is not a good product for anybody involved.
I want to congratulate you, though, real quick, because there was something that I saw.
Talk about my boy in the College Hall of Fame.
TCU has now given up the most points in a national championship game ever. And I just wanted to say congratulations to all Gator fans, because previously it was UF who gave up 62 points to Nebraska in 1996. So, congratulations to TCU. You got Florida off the schneid.
You said 96?
The troll. It's not.
Exactly, because it's funny you said 96, because that was just that was the same year that we had both the college basketball and the college football national championships at the same time, which is just a little weird there. But anyway,
96.
I do believe it was 96. Yes, no, it's 2006. I apologize, but 96 we were the national champions of football.
Get that shit straight.
Right there. If you can look on the jersey right there, Danny Werfel, 1996 national champion, Heisman winner. Yeah.
Was that the choke at Doak year?
I don't really care, but they won. Anyway, moving on. And since we are the Gators, I would like to have a big shout out to the most impactful player in college football history, a guy that you just have to root for day in and day out, regardless of your affiliation. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Timothy Tebow, was elected to the College Football Hall of Fame. So a big round out and shout out for Timmy Tebow. What a great humans on this earth. Congratulations, Timmy Tebow, first ballot College Hall of Fame. You should have been there before the ballot was even done. Soon as you graduated, you should have been put into the Hall of Fame right then and there. Congratulations, Timmy Tebow. All right. So, with that being said, we're going to give a little recap here on some the state of the union here of a few of our college sports. I'm going to start off by Florida, and I'm going to also do a little Illini. And, you know, this year for the University of Florida was nothing but disappointment. It was the first year of our new head coach, and we got off really good. We won the game against Utah. Anthony Richardson played extremely well that game. Gator Nation was all hopeful. Hey, the tide turned. And then we quickly found out that no, the tide did not turn. In fact, the tide sucked all of our emotions out of us once again. And for a historic franchise school like the University of Florida, it pains me that this school has not been relevant in some time. Being a top 5 public university and having all of the money in God's creation that anyone could ever use, it's just very disappointing. Now, Billy Napier, okay, might be the guy, might not. I don't know. But on the same token, the University of Florida used to demand the best. This wasn't a step-up school. This wasn't a school where I cut my teeth. This wasn't a school where I come from Louisiana Raging Cajuns over here. This is a name brand school, top tier, the most money, the most ability to recruit, possess, whatever you want to call it, brand new facility. And here we are. scraping by with 500 records. It's a fucking embarrassment. And yes, our fan base is extremely fucking toxic because they want to win. I know it. All of my team are losers. Been dealing with it my whole life. Welcome to Chicago sports. But I'm in Florida now, and we deserve better. Now, the recruiting class has improved, and we are back into the top 10 of the recruiting class, which is great, all hunky-dory. But on the same token, like we were talking earlier about, signings and stuff like that, it don't matter because anybody can sign. Anybody can sign, and then one day be like, I think I'm going to go over here instead. Regardless of if that's more money, whatever. It's a bullshit system, in my opinion. I fully agree with the players getting to be paid, and we're gonna close this segment on NIL after we get done with these little recaps. So I'm not gonna dip into that. But Florida, Scott Strickland, the president, the director, you guys have let the Florida nation down for so many years. At one point, we had dominant basketball, baseball, even softball, track and field. We're still dominant in a lot of those things, but the big boys that bring in the money, you are lacking. You are lacking behind everyone. Your little brother, Georgia, is now your big brother. Alabama is still your daddy. So you got a long way to get up the rank of chain, and it's fucking embarrassing. As somebody that was a booster for 4 years, had season tickets for 4 years, it's an absolute embarrassment. The next thing I'm going to talk about, the University of Illinois, the Fighting Illini, my hometown, my home state, has a better college football program than the University of Florida. Let that fucking sink in, Gator Nation. And like we were talking about before about Lovey, the University of Illinois had a better football program than the University of Florida. And there's many other schools like that. But yet you're going to send me an email every other week asking me for my money, to give more money. It's a fucking embarrassment. The state of Florida football, we finally lost to Florida State after a bazillion years of domination. It's just, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. You can't even run your own state. Get your shit together, Florida. Put a team out there on the field, and let's win some fucking football games. That's all I have to say about that.
All right, I kind of let you go there. I'm going to let you get away with those lies and the shit that you were just saying on a lot of things. And
nothing but truth.
Because it's fine. It's fine. I'll let you get away with the lies. I do want to say something, though. And if you look back to when Florida was very, very dominant, right, you had great leaders of men.
Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer was not the best leader of men. But at that time, in that moment, right, you had Billy Donovan, head coach of the basketball team. Urban Meyer, head coach of the football team, right? These have become names synonymous with winning. And
Steve Spurrier, the ball coach.
And Steve Spurrier.
Thank you.
Ah, God, that's painful.
I knew it was going to be.
But I think it starts at the top, and I am happy as a Florida State Seminole because we have a guy in Mike Norvell who I feel like is a very high character individual. And who demands the same from his players and from people. I love how honest he is. Even when we first hired Mike Norvell, there was a kid named Jeff Sims who was a 4-star recruit, one of the best, college or high school quarterbacks coming into college. Mike Norvell went to him and said, "Hey, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. You don't fit my system. I just want to let you know you can come here. You can compete for a job. You are not gonna walk right in and start right away. You're gonna have to earn it." And honestly, if you want to look other places, that is completely up to you, and I would love for you to do that. I love the fact that Florida State this year, we had a great year. We had kids enter the transfer portal, just like every other team does. You know what those kids did? They still practice with Florida State football every single day. A couple of them played in the bowl game. Didn't matter, okay? Unlike Beamer over there at South Carolina, who says, "Listen, once you leave my program, you're dead to me. Good luck. I don't want you around my program." That's the sign of maybe not a great culture, all right? I love that we have the culture enough and just the amount of character and class to be able to still put these young men first, still lead them to whatever their destination might be, whatever's going to be better for their future, if that's not going to be at Florida State University. If we're going to talk about Florida State, I think we had a great year this year. I think that the arrow was only pointed up for us. We have the #1 transfer portal class. We're not great in high school recruiting right now. I think there's a supplemental right now, and it's unconventional, but when you can get game film on kids, when you know if they go to class, you know how they are, you know how they act. I said this before. I just think it's better, and it's going to fit your program a little bit better. I think it's going to be a tough year next year for Florida and for Miami. If you look at what Norvell went through his first few years when he started, he had to process kids out of our program. He had to process and get the kids in who he felt like were good for our culture.
Okay? Which you can see right now, not to interrupt you, but you can see that now in Florida with
Absolutely.
So many people leaving, whatever.
23 transfers, okay? It's fine. When you have that many transfers, and I trust me, I see all of you on message boards and I see you on Twitter talking shit about the transfer portal. You might want to hop into it, okay? I'm going to say this right now. You got to field a team somehow, okay? You got 23 kids transferring out. You have 20 kids coming back in that you're going to start right away. Most of those kids need some time to adjust themselves. You remember what it was like to go to college? Remember your first year in college? You didn't know what was going on, you know? You got to find time for these kids somehow. And I think the transfer portal is a great way to be able to do that. I do think that Billy Napier can coach. I don't know if Mario Cristobal can, but it remains to be seen. I don't think he had the opportunity to make a lot of great in-game adjustments this year because they sucked, you know? And you have to have a certain level of competency to be able to show what kind of coach you are, okay? Florida State sucked the first few years Mike Norvell was here. We saw this year, he's actually a good X's and O's guy. He can pull the trigger when he needs to on a big play. He can dial things up. He can game plan. He can scheme. That's the next level, right? I think Billy Napier can do that. The only thing that worries me about Florida is the offensive lineman leaving. I don't understand that.
Like you were talking about before. Like you were talking about before, there's definitely a cultural change and a cultural shock. And when you go from Dan Mullen, which, you know, to me, Dan Mullen tried to be the buddy. He tried to be the cool coach, in my opinion. And, you know, a lot of some of the stuff that the undisciplined that we talked about before, a lot of that stuff was prevalent. You know, Marco Wilson.
Back to his wife kissing players in the mouth? Is that like...
That's just weird shit, bro. That's just weird shit. I mean, fuck. I mean, you know, every time I see Marco Wilson's name in the NFL, I get chills down my spine. You know, it's just...
he's playing for the Cardinals, I think, right? The Cardinals?
I don't fucking care. Fucking guy.
I didn't see him throw a shoe yet.
Yeah, fucking guy. Anyway, you know, I do think he can coach. Obviously, he got the job. And like you said, it's going to take a while to rebuild a program. But, you know,
give him 3 years.
Give him 3 years. Well, I have no time frame on him. I'm more pissed off at the top, like we were talking about before. Like, you know, late 90s, early 2000s. You know, we've talked about this before. It was Florida State. Whoever won that game went to the national championship. I mean, that's just the way it was. And Florida has completely fallen off ever since Urban Meyer. And it shouldn't be that way. You think, you know, I mean, obviously, Nick Saban has built up Alabama, you know, for so much. But do you think if Nick Saban retires or moves away, that there's going to be a guy coming from University of Indiana Southern to take over at the Alabama football program? Absolutely.
No, I think they'll probably go get Sonny Dykes from TCU or, you know.
Regardless, I'm just saying.
O'Brien.
I gotta have faith, you know. You gotta have faith. If you don't have faith, then you're not a fan, and you have to respect the process. But I think the Gator fans are just tired of seeing the process regurgitated over and over again, and the wrong candidates being chosen over and over again. And with these players leaving, a lot of those weren't actually our starters. A lot of them were people that were brought in, still left over from Mullen. That you know, they did their shot, and unfortunately, they're probably not going to get the playing time. We did lose some starters. But we also did get some big players in the transfer portal. I can't believe we got the big guy last week, I believe. I can't remember his name. So it is in there, and I fully believe that we can put it on there. But, you know, kind of like what you're talking about, the crystal ball, and this will take us into our last thing, as far as NIL and being able to get these kids. And, you know, I'm with you. I'd rather go get kids that I have film on playing in college football out of the transfer portal than recruiting somebody that's supposedly a 5-star quarter or 5-star defensive end out of Arizona high school where his competition is dog shit, or you got a 5-star out of IMG, right? But those guys, I mean, I don't know. Those teams are so stacked that you can't help but think that a lot of those stats are made because of the players around them. Regardless, I was also looking back at the number of 5-star recruits that actually continue to make it and really actually pan out. And it goes to the same thing as like the first round draft picks. It's a fucking crapshoot. You can have the guy with all of the tools, but if you have the wrong guy driving the car, you're going to fuck him up. And I think Cristobal, that's what you're seeing in Miami with NIL. And so, Miami's got all this money and they're throwing all this money at these people, but you're not even thinking about it. You're just going trying to get the best recruits at every position. Well, you have to have best recruits at best positions. The best people don't want to play with people that are shit. The best of the best want to be with the best of the best. If you don't surround them with the best of the best, then I don't think that they're going to perform. And I think that you're seeing that. I mean, Cristobal, that season can't be anything than an utter fucking disappointment by any fucking mile, regardless of rebuilding anything. That's just terrible. And, they continue to get it. And, back to the NIL. The NIL was made for the players, right? Because everybody said, look, colleges are making all of this money and off of us. And rightfully so. We deserve a cut of that. We deserve to be able to make money. And so when the NIL came about, it was like, you're absolutely right. You should be able to get paid for signing a shirt. You should be able to get paid to make a commercial, endorse a product. Anything like that, you should be able to get paid for. But now it has turned into absolutely pay to play. If I'm coming to the University of Florida, how much money am I going to make? I mean, you have some of these recruits who are reportedly, getting 7-figure deals, right? So at the end of it, it was supposed to be, well, the colleges are making all this money. We need a chunk of that. So what did the colleges do? As a booster, they sent us an email saying, in order for us to compete and put a team out on the season, we need you to donate more money. I looked at that thing. I called my rep. I said, this will be my last season with the tickets. And whatever happens, happens. I'm still a Gator. But there ain't no way that I'm paying for this. The amount of season tickets and the amount of money that season ticket boosters put in there is absolutely fucking asinine. The tickets themselves cost like $60 to a game. Boosters get charged $350 per ticket just to be able to sit in that section. And you have the balls to send out to us about you need to donate more money, otherwise we can't compete. I don't like it. I think it's a shit system, just like the college playoffs. I think it's gotten way out of hand, and I think that the NCAA is sitting back with their hands behind their backs. I'm like, this is what we tried to tell you, and nobody is going to try to bring this in. And I think at the end of the day, you're going to see the college skill gap and the teams just get bigger and bigger and bigger, because you're going to have Georgias that are going to have all of these 5-star recruits every single year, because let's be honest, Georgia's got money and they have a coach. I was surprised about Texas. Texas has got money, but they didn't pan out. I don't know. To me,
Texas A&M has money. They didn't pan out. Listen, it's about the man behind driving the vehicle. In my
absolutely.
Opinion. And look, Mario can go pay every single 5-star recruit that he wants to. As if they're still losing to Middle Tennessee State at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right? I mean, you cool. Roll every single 5-star out there. Cormani McLean still hasn't even signed with you. You're number one, your prized possession of this year's class that you had, your 5-star that you had.
That you stole.
Some of the numbers okay, whatever.
Well, that's between
you guys. It's not
but
between me.
But that goes back to the point where we're talking about signings and stuff. I don't fucking care. I don't care until the first game of the season, because these kids can flip no matter what. And until they're on campus, they're not a part of the organization.
The NCAA is full of shit.
Well, yeah.
Because they're going to sit here and they're going to do this, and then in the same breath, they're going to say, well, John Harbaugh took 2 kids out to get hamburgers in Ann Arbor, and it was COVID time. He wasn't supposed to be contacting recruits. You know what? I think we're going to have to suspend him for a few games next year. That's unbelievable. Baba Miller, right, one of the 5-star prospects for Florida State, they made sit out for 15 games this year. You know why? Because somebody paid his travel expenses to come over and go to a camp, and then they reimbursed the person for the travel expenses. Suspended him for the first 15 games of the year.
Yep. But
yet Mario Cristobal can call 4 defensive linemen on Florida State's roster last week and say, we have these NIL opportunities for you down here in Miami, completely tamper the shit out of the program, and every single one of those defensive linemen said this to Mario Cristobal. We're not going anywhere, buddy.
Good.
We're staying in Tallahassee. And you know what? Some of these numbers that get thrown out there in terms of, like, I saw the whole Drake May thing about him. Oh, you know, people are calling up and offering him millions of dollars to go to Texas and Alabama and all this shit. I don't believe it for a second, bro. Do I believe these kids are getting paid somewhere? Most of them probably very modest amounts. Let's say $50K, right? $100K here and there. You know, sometimes 6 figures. Are your top guys maybe going to get $1 million bonus? Yeah, Bryce Young got that. He's going to be the #1 pick in the draft this year. Okay, it is what it is. All right, but for Mac Brown and for Narduzzi to come out, the coach for Pitt, and say that Drake May was tampered with and offered like $5 million by a college to transfer to them is absolutely fucking ludicrous to me. No college is paying a kid $5 million.
You said it right there. No colleges, but a booster will.
You think a booster is going to pay a kid $5 million
yes.
to come play 1 year at their college?
Yes.
Bro, I don't believe it for a second.
There was Texas boosters that were buying out the head coach's 25. What was the Texas guy that got fired a few years ago? The boosters paid out that contract just to get rid of him. I mean, you're talking about people with billions of dollars. And when you talk about Miami, billions.
We care a lot more about college than we do the NFL in the South.
Yeah, I would say that. 100%.
We do. I mean, we're born into our fandom.
That's what I'm saying.
You're born into whatever you are, and you, like, religiously. I grew up in Bobby Bowden and Steve Spurrier. So having to stare at this gator head behind your head the entire show in that gator helmet, you know, literally makes you want to go vomit in a trash can. First of all, the colors orange and blue don't even mesh together. They don't even look good together.
Hey, we're not going to get personal here. We're not going to get personal.
We're not getting personal. I'm telling you. They don't look good together.
In your opinion.
Have you ever said, you know what, I'm going to throw on a suit, or I'm going to throw on a fly fit, or I'm going to wear a shirt? You know what? I think orange and blue are the 2 colors that we're going to go together with.
Absolutely.
No.
Wear it all the time.
Absolutely not.
Orange polos all the time. Wait till we play golf again. Orange polo. Bright orange. Hunter orange, maybe. Beautiful.
Whatever. I digress. Anyway, I don't think NIL is as big of a problem as we're kind of making it out to be. I think kids see the writing on the wall when it comes to coaches, when it comes to what their
some of them,
their motives are. Yeah, I think some of them do. You know, if you look at Miami, we just had a situation with this kid Terrell Jackson, right? He was Miami's best defensive tackle last year, 6'6", 300 pounds, transferred to Florida State because he wanted to be closer to his mom. Okay, Miami told him they weren't going to sign his waiver. They said they weren't going to sign his waiver to release him from his scholarship, and then they tried to tell him again that they would give him, you know, $500,000 to come back and play for them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Did he already cash a check?
No, he told Mario Cristobal, no, I'm leaving. I'm going to Florida State.
Right, no, what I'm saying, but he was already signed there, right?
So where? He was on Miami's roster last year.
Correct. So that's what I'm saying. So he probably already cashed a check.
No, they offered him more different NIL opportunities. Anyway,
yeah.
There's collectives now with every single university. You're going to have multiple collectives that kids are going to sign with. That collective is then going to provide them with opportunities to get in touch with people to make them money, whether it be at a car dealership, whether it be whatever it is. So every why collective?
So why then? It's called right there. It's called right there. The Gator Collective.
Okay. So the Battles End Collective.
So then why is the Gator Collective, if their job is to find the opportunities for the players to sign, why is the Gator Collective asking me to donate $100 a month, $1,000 a month? Where is that money going to?
It's going to people who are probably employees of the Gator Collective to try to get these kids opportunities.
No, it even says right here, like, we have this much money in our bank this is going to help us sign players. Like, exactly. And you can't tell me, they were talking about if every one of our followers donated $10, we would be able to raise $1 million a month. Okay, if you're so $1 million. Hold your horses.
Paying people for.
I know they have, but it's not beneficial.
What are we talking about?
The problem is they're asking me for the fucking money. All right, so if I'm giving you $1 million a month total, like this whole thing, and this is supposed to go to the players, right? Or it can't go to the players. This is supposed to go to the administration that signs the deals and everything. So who's getting paid out of this? The guy, the guy that's running it.
Money for the war chest, bro. You know.
But what war chest? You're not allowed to use that.
A bidding war.
You're not
a bidding war.
What do you mean a bidding war? That money's not allocated for that. So I can give $1,000 to the Gator Collective that can be used, but if I hand a recruit $1,000 to go get groceries for his mom and everything for a month, that's illegal. Explain the reasoning behind that.
Talk to the NCAA, bro. Stop yelling at me.
I'm fucking done with this shit. Anyway, college football's fucking over. Thank God. Another year of Gators disappointment. We'll be back again next year. I don't fucking care. Because they can sign all they want and then fucking 2 weeks later be like, oh, I'm going to go to Miami. They gave me another $1 million. Woo!
10-3. Florida State went 10-3 this year under Mike Norvell. We lost 3 games in a row. Unfortunately, we had a tough stretch where we played Wake Forest, NC State, and Clemson when they were at full health and we were not. We lost all those games by 1 score. That's all I'm going to say.
Who gives a fuck? Nobody cares.
Arrow pointing up.
Nobody cares about Florida State. Florida State is so irrelevant, dude.
We live so rent-free in all of your heads constantly. Miami, Florida,
you don't.
You guys.
You don't.
All of you.
You
all
don't.
You do is think about us.
The only time that you hear of any college football is Florida, Miami. You don't even fucking hear. Actually, I hear more UCF than I do Florida State. Talk about a poverty school who claims a championship.
So toxic.
Anyway, that's it. We're fucking out of here. We're gonna be back.
Friday.
We're gonna be
Friday all NFL preview, right?
We're gonna be back Friday, 11 o'clock. We're gonna give our NFL preview and go to the weekends. We'll probably debate whether we're gonna drag our asses down to Tampa to watch it, or if we're gonna watch Tampa Tom on Monday Night Football at the coziness of our home. We're gonna have a lot at home.
Kitty O'Shea's Irish Pub Buffalo Bar. Listen,
shocker.
I don't know if I'm going or not.
I know. You know, my good friend here off the side is what we like to call a paper fan. He's a fan on paper, but when it comes time to sacrifice time, travel, or, you know, if something is personal, he can't invest that much. So he's kind of a paper fan. He's definitely a fan of his teams, but he just doesn't like to go to the games.
Is that like when your alma mater reaches out and asks you for money so that they can sign better players and you say no? Does that count as being a paper fan?
After I spent $7,000 on season tickets, absolutely does not. Fuck them. Fuck it all. I will watch it on the SEC Plus network because that's probably where the Gator games are going to be broadcast because they can't fucking win.
You know, I just don't know about that trip back from Tampa on Monday night. And this is my other thing, too. I'm at an age now where it's like, if you're going to have... I'm so mad that we have a Monday Night Football game. I so wish it was just on Sunday and I could just drink, you know, enjoy myself, wake up Monday. Now it's like Monday. Now I gotta go out there on Monday. You're going to get drunk the entire time. I'm going to wake up like shit on Tuesday. I just... Why do we have to have a Monday night game anyway? Why can't it be 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday? You know, it makes the most sense. Then everybody has pretty much the same amount of rest. You know, instead now if the Bucks win, now we're playing on a short week.
Well, you see what happens here, Jeffrey, is the NFL likes to capitalize on this thing called money. And NFL likes money, so they cannot pay their players. So naturally, it's probably going to be Tampa Tom's last game. So, you know, they wanted it in prime time. I mean, that's all it is.
His last game?
Last home game.
Did you just say that?
Last home game.
As a Bucks fan, did you just say that?
Last home game.
What the fuck, bro?
Last home
We
game.
don't need those vibes.
It'll be the last game.
Fan?
It'll be the last game he plays in Tampa. Punk. We didn't even get into all the coaching tampering shit. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit Friday. You know, about the Sean Payton rumors are coming true, or not coming true, but they're starting to swirl around Tampa. And you know,
the other thing we didn't touch on either is how egregious that Seattle game was, and the officiating at the very end of it. They said Jalen Ramsey should have got out of the way of the guy running out of bounds.
Well, he was standing out of bounds though when he hit him.
Are you kidding me?
He was standing out of bounds though. Now, but to that point, even if you can't let the game end like that. That's my biggest thing. You just can't. I mean, there's the NFL officiating this year has been by far the worst I've ever seen. And maybe that's because I've watched more NFL games this year than any other year, but it's god awful. God awful.
Do you think maybe we should make officials full time? I don't know. I think full time employees might work a little bit better.
What do you mean?
I mean, most officials are part-time employees, aren't they?
Well, they just work during the NFL season.
But most of them are like lawyers during the week and shit.
Really?
Almost positive.
I thought they got paid like $100,000 a year.
No.
I
love how we always do this. We always say bye, and then it turns into an extra 10 minutes of...
There are various reports, but the lower end of these reports place an NFL official salary between $3,000 to $5,000 for a postseason game. Super Bowl makes $50,000, but what about regular games? Yeah, you're right. For a majority of officials, being a referee is only their side job. Primary occupation is civil litigator. Runs merit. Wow.
Fucking ridiculous.
That could be one of the most asinine things that I've ever seen in my life.
Is that not absolutely terrible? That we use people who are literally like, this person's like a stenographer in their day job, but she's out here throwing flags and fucking getting measurements and, you know, calling defensive holding on a DB that you can barely see. It's crazy.
I think we need to dig in that a little bit on Friday. We're gonna dig on that on Friday. But anyway, great show. Thanks to everybody for dropping in today. If you haven't, make sure you give us a follow. All of the socials are down there on the page. Give us a follow. We'll be back Friday at 11 o'clock talking about the previews for the playoff weekend. And then we will also tell you on Friday, but more than likely we'll probably postpone our Monday show again to Tuesday. But we could be really hungover for that. I could be hungover for that.
Definitely do it on Monday, bro.
Yeah. We'll do that. If
the Bucks lose, we just won't have to talk about it. You know?
Yeah, that perfect. So yeah, we'll do that. So they'll be back on Monday, and then we'll do another Friday. So anyway, I appreciate it. Thanks everybody. Make sure that you follow the socials, get the update, and we'll see you again.